I'm always up to something.
Hi, how are you guys doing today? My name is Anima and today we're going to be talking about Samuel. Samuel is the caretaker of Blackwell Academy and can be frequently encountered over the course of the game. He speaks in cryptic messages, choosing to never quite directly answer a question and enjoys the company of squirrels. We first see him attending to the grounds outside the Prescott dormitory. He is a cryptic guy who seems to know a lot more than he lets on, so we're going to analyze him and try and find out his intent. Take the notions of good and bad with a pinch of salt. I don't think anything is truly black and white. For the purposes of this video, we aren't analyzing any spiritual powers he may or may not have, but we're looking at his intentions. Samuel's immediate vibe is that he is a bit creepy, but he seems to care a lot about his job as a caretaker. He is seen as a weirdo, and Max sympathizes with him, which serves to help put our guard down. Interestingly, Samuel sticks out as someone who normalizes the many things that Max experiences. He asks her about the animals she's seen, and dismisses any weirdness with the doe. Samuel is very candid about the supernatural, and has less charge attached to everything than others Max interacts with, which helps to ground her. In episode 3 in particular, he is extremely friendly, asking Max how she is, saying we all need to look out for each other, and that he's always here to talk. In addition, Samuel empowers Max, saying she is the opposite of powerless. Samuel is the most explicit about encouraging her to just be her, which emphasizes that her own thing is enough to find the right way. His rhetoric was quite neutral at first, but has gotten kinder as the game progressed. He says he warned people about Kate, therefore he was empathic enough to notice and worry about her pain, unlike so many others. Samuel hates bullies, and we all know the biggest bullies in town are the Prescotts, which would pit his allegiance against them. One thing to note, who was he warning? After all, it doesn't seem like Kate's death was what Jefferson and co. are after. There is a box labeled Sammy's Stuff. Samuel never refers to himself as Sammy. It's cutesy sounding, so someone could refer to him that way affectionately, possibly Rachel Amber, or someone is referring to him in that way to mock him. He could have labeled it Sammy himself, but that doesn't seem very likely. One take on this is perhaps Rachel gave him this box of her stuff to hold on to. If she did, that implies that she trusted him. While we're still on the subject of the box, conversely, when you ask Samuel about the strange box in his shed, he actually responds defensively. The line, "Keep on prying, Max, looks like you got a lot of time on your hands," comes across as mocking and condescending. Of course, the pictures can be explained as Rachel would hand them out to anyone, but he could have come out with this calmly instead of talking in circles. Samuel doesn't seem to say anything valuable towards Rachel's cause during this exchange. Plus, the stuff in the box has nothing to do with him personally. Max says she's never seen him wear shades, and there's all kinds of teen items. That is either a flower there or a propeller. The center is quite robust, so if it is a propeller, it could be from the junkyard. Also, the photographs are with files, organized, and with a missing persons poster. Max is snooping to be sure, but if the subject in question is a potentially dead girl, there's no point to being defensive, it just makes you suspicious. Samuel has a serious tendency to give you conflicting information. He'll say, "Like I told the police, she was a good egg," and "if Rachel can be found." Later in the game, this changes to "if Rachel wants to be found." This is a weird switch, going from the possibility of finding Rachel to Rachel actually having a choice in the matter of her being found. Disturbingly, he says that Rachel will always be alive in our hearts. Sometimes, that's all we have left. This is in spite of when he was in a hurry to avoid talking about her in episode 1, saying then that it was best not to dwell on the past. It seems that he knows, and potentially could have always known, what happened to Rachel Amber, but chose to purposefully withhold and drip feed you information when it suits him. Samuel seems to have prophetic dreams, which point to him knowing far more than he lets on. This lends credit to the possibility of him feeding you selective pieces of information instead of giving you the full picture. Now this one is more of a reach, but bear with me. David. Samuel says David talks to him and he listens. Now this could definitely mean that David just rants at him, but we know from Nathan's writing in the principal's computer that David Madsen helps Nathan follow those he follows, meaning he answers to someone. As of episode 4, we have not confirmed who this someone could be. Could David actually report to Samuel? Samuel seems to drip feed information to Max in general, selectively hiding things and revealing them. What if, in true selective fashion, the statement, "he talks to me, I listen," doesn't tell the full story? The association is deepened when he talks about how Max and David both see with cameras. We know David wants cameras installed, but it's a bit presumptuous to say he sees through them, unless he knows David takes pictures as students. The player would know the link between David and seeing through cameras from the surveillance in Chloe's home, but the only way a character aside from Chloe's immediate family and Max herself would know about David and cameras is through seeing him take pictures of license plates and of students when he stalks them. From this, we can assume the possibility that Samuel knows about David's investigations.
Don't you wander off into the dark.
This section is to talk about the ambiguous things that could be seen as good or bad. Samuel frequently mentions destiny. At first, a little half-heartedly, but in later episodes he confirms that he fully believes in it, in many different lifetimes. He says what is happening here is just the beginning, and talks about time never ending. Time is, of course, very topical in Life is Strange, and he appears to have prophetic dreams which tell him things. Samuel is an artist. The brushes in his shack are too numerous and too varied to be just for odd job DIY purposes. Right now I can't recall any significant paintings aside from the illustration in the darkroom, but it really doesn't seem his style. Maybe you can think of some paintings that he may have done. The last one leans more towards bad, but I'm not so sure about it. There is a tire in his shed. We know he has DIY skills, but this links him to cars specifically. Nathan's car had a broken taillight, which was fixed, and then the vehicle was given a completely different paint job by the time of the most recent Vortex Club party. It could have been fixed and recolored at a mechanic's, but if you're running around kidnapping people with drugs, you might not want your car to be looked at by just anyone. In conclusion, Samuel, while being a friendly character, has exhibited some strange behaviors that are nothing to do with how weird he is in general. He was lukewarm to Max at first, and grew in kindness as she proceeded down her path. Whether or not he is nicer just because this is a path that he approves of or not is unknown. I'm not completely sure about him. I think he knows too much and says too little. In episode 3, he says he buried birds near the Tabanga, and there is a little cairn marking it. A cairn, this pile of stones here, can be used to mark a memorial or to mark a trail. Samuel is the only person to have shown association with a cairn, and there is actually one in the nightmare by the lighthouse. What's going on, Sammy boy? Whew, it's finito! Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to post your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up to date with all the latest from yours truly. Check out more theories right here, and watch my playthrough of Life is Strange by following the links in the description. If you fancy a giggle, have a gander at the games and vlogs on the channel, and let me entertain you! But most importantly, take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye!